And just ahead, a mother and son found dead in Wilson yesterday, while another son is charged with the murders. Hear from a family member as they process the devastating news. Plus, the Eastern Carolinians love New Bern for its charm, but it's getting a lot of attention from the rest of the country, too. We'll tell you how much those tourists are helping the Craven County economy.
Live, WITN First Alert News and certified most accurate weather start now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Courtney Bunting.
Live, WITN First Alert News and certified most accurate weather start now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Dave Jordan. Farmers here in the east and all across the state dealing with a devastating season of lost crops can now apply for help.
News 10 NBC at 5:30 begins with breaking news. In-depth, investigative. This is News 10 NBC at 6.
It's hard to put my finger on exactly what makes it so magical, but I'm telling you, it is a magical time.
A fly fishing retreat for women fighting breast cancer. It's been happening for the last decade, but a funding shortfall has it in jeopardy this summer. But first, a multi-hour standoff with gunshots fired coming to a close in Seneca County after shutting down part of the village of Waterloo early this morning. Tonight, one man is behind bars and another is in the hospital. News 10 NBC's Christy Blake spoke to people who lived near where the standoff happened.
Action News, Philadelphia's leading news program, with Deuces Rogers, meteorologist Cecily Tynan, and Rick Williams.
Tuesday night, and we begin with breaking news. A driver is safe after an Atlantic City rail line train plowed into his car.
Trusted, local, WCTV Eyewitness News starts now.
And thank you for joining us tonight at 11. I'm Zach Dahlheimer. Abby has the night off. Today, Florida voters cast their ballot in two high-profile special elections in North Florida. They're for open U.S. House seats in Florida's 1st District here in the Panhandle and the state's 6th District, which sits between Jacksonville and Daytona Beach.
Now at 11, a lightning strike knocks out power to two beach communities.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Trevor Gibbs. Drying out now, but some spots saw some pretty big thunderstorms today. I'm tracking our next chance of rain in your First Alert forecast.
New reaction after a man was shot and killed by police.
This is his firstborn baby.
Why the pregnant woman police are calling a victim was at tonight's memorial. And the votes are in. We have the results from a local special election and one in the Panhandle.
Live at 11, CBS 47 Fox 30 Action News Jax starts right now.
And tonight we're hearing from the victim in a domestic violence dispute that led to JSO shooting and killing a suspect. I'm Ben Becker.
I'm Tanika Hughes.
On WFTV tonight.
We already know it's going to be a challenge. We already know it's going to be tough.
The rare opportunity for healing for survivors and loved ones of victims of the Pulse massacre.
And investigators say her life was cut short due to a domestic violence shooting. How the community came together to honor her memory tonight.
Plus, all eyes on Florida, the latest on a local election with national implications.
This is WFTV tonight.
But first, here at 11 o'clock, rain coming down across Central Florida. It was a busy night for the weather department. Good evening. I'm Greg Warmith.
And I'm Martha Sagowski. Take a look. The radar has been light.
We're following Florida's special congressional election and municipal races across north central Florida. We'll tell you how the dust settled.
And weather-wise, an unseasonably warm and humid weather pattern taking shape across north central Florida over the next several days. In fact, near record high temperatures in the forecast. We'll talk everything you need to know coming up.
And Florida and Auburn clashed in San Antonio, but with a win, why Todd Golden could become a teacher with SEC tenure. Those stories and more, the TV20 News at 11 starts now.
This is News at 11 on WCJB TV 20, your local station.
The
race is called in North Central Florida's election for Congress.
Voters in Marion and Putnam counties and elsewhere cast their ballots in the race to fill Florida's 6th congressional district race.
Good evening. WAND is your central source for general election coverage tonight. The polls are closed and the ballot counting is underway. We first turn our attention to Decatur, where 4 seats were open for the Decatur Public School Board, 6 candidates competing for the open spots.
Nearly 100 different races across ballots all over the state line. Residents vote on who they want to see serve in local leadership and other important decisions.
We share the results of tonight's consolidated general election.
And a busy night of weather could be ahead of us as we're tracking the return of showers and thunderstorms, but that could be just the appetizer for what could be an enticing main course tomorrow. Those details in moments. Your news starts right now.
This is You Decide 2025 coverage from WIFR.
From mayors to school board members and council members to township trustees, there was a lot to vote on in this year's consolidated general election. But before we get to those results, let's take a look at how many stateliners made it to the polls.
Yeah, we start in the Forest City, where 18.65% of voters came out to the polls. That's about 16,000 people.
From News 3 Now, this is breaking news.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. And we begin tonight as Wisconsin's state Supreme Court race is called in favor of Dane County Judge Susan Crawford.
Here are the current numbers in that race. The Dane County Judge Crawford and former State Attorney General Brad Schimmel were vying to fill the vacant seat on the bench. Millions of dollars, of course, been well documented.
Tonight, the most expensive judicial race in American history. Dane County Judge Susan Crawford.
I'm the only candidate in this race who is actually pledged to be fair and impartial.
And Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel.
This race matters. It's important. We have to stop the politics on the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Vying for a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The race catching the attention of the nation and the White House. Tonight, we've got you covered on the results.
Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Braden Taylor.
And I'm Amber Noggle. Tonight, the balance of the Wisconsin Supreme Court will remain liberal.
The court race is also serving as a bellwether of how people feel about the new Trump administration, as President Donald Trump and his advisor Elon Musk have gotten involved. Tonight, we've got you covered on the matchup between Dane County Judge Susan Crawford, who is backed by Democrat.
Balanced news and severe weather coverage. This is Fox 11 News at 10.
Fox 11 is following the races important to you during this spring election. 2 big statewide races were on the ballot this spring for voters: State Supreme Court and State Superintendent of Public Instruction.
We first start off with the State Supreme Court race, a highly contested race that captured the eyes of many throughout the nation, and Susan Crawford winning that race tonight.
Now at 10, breaking news. Susan Crawford projected to serve 10 years on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. We are live with both candidates. And major issues for Milwaukee voters, why some polling locations ran out of ballots.
And some of us experience a wintry mix this evening, but when the mix changes over to thunderstorms, maybe even some of those storms severe tomorrow, we'll tell you when in your forecast. Coming up.
More reporters where you live, more local voices. This is TMJ4 News at 10.
As a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world for justice in Wisconsin. And we won!
Susan Crawford declaring victory in the race for Wisconsin Supreme Court. The race called around 9 o'clock, projecting the liberal candidate to defeat Republican-backed Brad Schimmel. That means liberals will keep the majority on the state's high court. The race is getting national attention, with some analysts seeing it as the first big test for the Trump agenda since he retook the White House.
Leading the way with important local coverage. WISN 12 News at 10 starts right now.
Commitment 2025, election night in Wisconsin.
All eyes on Wisconsin's biggest race.
The balance of the state Supreme Court at stake. Crawford's campaign celebrating tonight.
All right, Wisconsin, we did it.
To Pewaukee, where Brad Schimmel supporters are gathered tonight.
I've called Judge Crawford and conceded.
Plus, the Milwaukee ballot shortages amid historically high turnout. Some voters have told our crews that they've been turned away because of the ballot shortages. Can you address that?
Yeah, we received reports too that absolutely should not happen and completely unacceptable.
Voters told to wait in line while workers delivered more ballots.
It was careless. It was reckless, pretty much, to be quite honest with you.
And the race for state superintendent, the Kinzer race in Wauwatosa.
And the Underly campaign in Madison. 12 News Commitment 2025 coverage starts right now. Good evening. Tonight, the eyes of the nation are on Wisconsin. Months of campaigning and millions of dollars in the state Supreme Court race.
And tonight we do have a winner. The Associated Press now calling the race for the liberal-backed candidate Susan Crawford a sweeping defeat over conservative-backed Brad Schimmel. The latest numbers right there on your screen.
Now at 10, snow tonight will be transitioning to strong to severe storms tomorrow. More details in your first look forecast.
Plus, we've been talking about it for months, and it's finally here. Spring election night will have results and team coverage from multiple races.
And later, new tariffs are set to go into effect, the latest from the Trump administration.
Live from the WMTV studios, this is 15 News Spring Election Coverage.
All right, Wisconsin, we did it.
Streaming on First Coast News Plus. You're watching First Coast News on your side at 11.
Thank you for joining us tnight for First Coast News at 11. I'm Heather Crawford.
And I'm Anthony Austin. Our top story tonight at 11. We want to show you the results for one of Florida's special elections. Republican Randy Fine taking Congressional District 6 with almost all precincts reporting tonight.
Live, local, now. This is K8 News.
This is a live look from Mountain Home as storms move closer to Region 8. Today is a first alert weather day as we anticipate severe weather and flooding across the viewing area. Meteorologist Christina Ballantyne is in the Storm Center tracking it all. Christina.
Absolutely. So right now we still have that level 5 out of 5, a very rare extreme threat for severe weather in parts of Region 8. But it does not matter which color we find ourselves under today. Everyone in Region 8 has the potential to see severe weather today. All the ingredients are coming together.
This is a first alert weather day from WBKO News.
Clouds and strong winds throughout the day today as we gear up for a round of severe weather tonight. Gusts reached 40 miles per hour or more across the area this afternoon. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Gene Burke. Our first alert weather team is tracking the incoming storms with a tornado watch in effect for portions of our area until midnight tonight. Our chief meteorologist, David Wolter, joins us now from the First Alert Weather Center. And David, what time are these storms expected to move into our area?
Live from 14 News, this is a 14 First Alert Weather Day.
Those storms now moving closer and closer to the tri-state, and they could be strong enough for tornadoes, damaging winds, and hail. Good evening, I'm Robinson Miles. Straight now to Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lyons. Now, Jeff, I know you've been monitoring this a long time. They carry a variety of risks. How are things looking right now?
They're looking bad, Rob. To face it straight up, we have a bad situation here about to unfold.
Live, local, late breaking. This is News 18 First at 10.
Good evening. I'm Stacy Schooler, and thanks for joining us. Well, Tippecanoe County and several surrounding counties have been under a severe thunderstorm warning and tornado watch this evening.
Right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tornadoes touch down.
Friends, this is a tornado on the ground.
Putting people in the path of the storm.
I could hear the locomotive type sound like a train engine heading for us.
Leaving a trail of damage and even injuries.
She just opened the basement door up, head down steps.
when it hit.
Tonight we have Weather Impact Alert team coverage of the aftermath of the storm. The threat of severe weather has moved out, bringing an end to our Weather Impact Alert Day. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. The storms moved out of our region about 3 hours ago. The immediate St. Louis area was relatively spared.
Now at 10, a severe storm rips through our region.
Now, First Alert 4 is surveying the damage.
I see debris. Oh my gosh.
Tornadoes, rain, and hail creating hazards across the bi-state.
And they opened up the window and there it was, so close to our house.
Emergency responders from around the region rushing in to help in the wake of a storm.
We've been out cutting trees, cutting our way into them.
The progress they hope to make overnight to clear a path through the debris.
Tonight's threat has ended. I'm breaking down the impacts and more rain on the way, triggering more First Alert days.
A child killed after riding on the back of a motorcycle.
I truly cannot even fathom this being someone's reality.
First Alert 4 investigating how this happened and what we know about the young life lost.
It makes me sick to think about that poor baby.
Live, First Alert 4 starts now.
It ripped stuff off our house, but we are so lucky that our house is still standing.
Tonight, we are monitoring the aftermath of severe storms ripping through our region. A viewer sent us this video showing what looks like a tornado sweeping across part of the Potosi area in Washington County.
Meanwhile, Drone 4 flying over the aftermath, showing what were homes now rendered completely unrecognizable. This is First Alert 4 at 10. I'm Samantha Jones.
And I'm Corey Stark. The storms, well, they have moved out, but the cleanup is just beginning.
Live, local, now. This is K8 News.
Oh my God, oh my God. Somebody is losing everything right now. No. I mean, it's gotta be huge. That's huge.
Video on Wendy? Yeah. Strong storms across Region 8 tonight. This is a video of a large tornado that moved through our area. Ryan, it looks like we still have a risk of severe weather tomorrow.
We do. That's probably something none of us want to hear about, but we do run the risk of severe weather not only tomorrow but into Friday also. And I'm actually more concerned about Friday's severe weather threat than I am tomorrow's. But no.
Live, local, late breaking. This is News 10 Night Watch.
Good evening, I'm John Swanner. Welcome to News 10 Night Watch. To say the least, it's been a busy night in the Weather Center for Storm Team 10 Chief Meteorologist Everett Lau, and he's still tracking storms that are moving finally out of the two-state area. Good evening, Everett.
Good evening, John. That's right. We're finally starting to quiet down across the area. Many of you still seeing some rain out there as we...
From Indy's streaming news leader, this is breaking news from WRTV.
Now at 11, tracking storm damage across central Indiana after a night of severe storms and possible tornadoes. One of the areas hit hard, Brownsburg and Hendricks County. This is a look right now at the damage done to several businesses and warehouses there in that area. You can see quite a bit of damage as that rain continues to come down at this hour. We are told this is the Surla Table warehouse there on Northfield Drive.
21 Alive has issued a First Alert Weather Day today. Stick to 21alivenews.com or the 21 Alive First Alert Weather app. Stay up to date with the latest weather information. Your 21 Alive News starts now.
Your news at 11 begins with a live look at Broadway Plaza in Fort Wayne, where the rain continues to come down. And you can see also a little bit of breezy conditions there. Thanks for joining us. Got Chief Meteorologist Matt Leach here with me. Got Meteorologist Caleb Saylor actually back there as well, too. Got the whole team here because it has been a busy night of weather, Matt.
It is. And just as a reminder, we cover a big area. So there have been some reports, some very surprising reports that have come from the area, but kind of from the far reaches, not necessarily within Fort Wayne, not a lot of the activity here within the city. Now,
Good evening. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm George Mallet. Once again tonight, Michiana being rocked by severe weather. Our First Alert meteorology team said this could happen. It has. And we will check in with First Alert meteorologist Jack Van Meter in a moment. But